Elliot,
Hello.
would you like to explain why we're recording at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 9/10:30 British time?
No, play the music. I went out for dinner because it's my birthday today.
Happy birthday, Elliot.
Thank you very much. I avoided the
I didn't say
27 club.
I didn't say it all day because I knew that this was going to be the intro for today. I was prepped for this.
Yeah,
we got a good we got a good show planned for today. We're talking about Katowice and the weird little shit that kind of fell through our the cracks in the last couple of weeks.
And Counter-Strike is back.
And Counter-Strike is
so
back.
back.
I have a whole discussion about how
so
Counter-Strike's
back.
back. We'll get to that at the end. But before that, let's roll the music. All right, let's start with the big one. Let's start with Kato. I think that's the easiest way to go. We've got 4 days of Kato left as we're recording this Wednesday night. 5 days? 4 days?
4 days.
I don't know how to count.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. And so we're actually left with the playoffs. So since we left you on Wednesday of last week, we've done all of the group stage. So let's dive into what the fuck happened here.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's so much to talk about.
There's a lot. I'm going to give a quick rundown of the teams that attended the group stage and roughly how they made it. Okay. So Vitality, FaZe, Na'Vi, Mouse, G2, Complexity, Monty, and Falcons all made the group stage from their ESL ranking.
Yeah.
Falcons, for what it's worth, made the group stage from their ESL ranking because they were the ENT ranking.
Yeah.
Let's just be very clear on this. They did not make it from the
I just like
the
to
body
say as well
lounks.
about that is that people got a bit annoyed about it because they don't want to see Falcons there. But do you remember like 2 years ago when it was, the organization shouldn't have the spot. It should go to the players. And then when the players have the spot and it goes to an organization they don't like, all of a sudden that's wrong.
No, it should be players.
Yeah,
the players actually play the
fine.
game. Yeah. Okay, so through the play-ins, Cloud9, Apex, Spirit, we'll talk a lot about this episode.
Yeah.
Eternal Fire, see prior statement. Gamer Legion, Heroic, the New Look Ents, and Rebels. Yes. Rebels.
The Red Bulls.
Well, I want to start with Rebels for a second here because I think the amount of people that thought that they were going to actually beat M80 was a little questionable.
I don't know. I kind of thought they might. M80 were playing with death, and that is a problem.
There is no thought in my mind here that I'm not surprised. Let me put it this way. I'm not. None of the results of the teams that got through versus not got through surprised me, other than Virtus Pro. But they had a really hard trip through. So
I mean, Astralis going out in last place in the play-in was a little.
No, that doesn't surprise me.
It was a
0%
unexpected, only a little bit.
0% surprising.
I thought they might, at least finish 9th to 12th rather than just straight last.
All right, so groups. Let's start with Group A. We're going to go wholly through a group before we talk about the next group. So Group A, FaZe against Rebels was the opening match.
Yeah.
Falcons, Eternal Fire, Na'Vi, Spirit, and Complexity, Apex. There's some bangers in here. FaZe Rebels was not a banger.
No, it was pretty much as expected. Rebels did okay. Like, they didn't disgrace themselves, which is about all that you could really expect from them. Like,
yeah,
they didn't get 13-2, 13-3'd. They got 9 rounds, I think, on one of the maps. If I remember rightly.
They got 9 rounds on Nuke, 7 rounds on Ancient.
Yeah, like, if you're
That's
Rebels,
reasonable.
You're looking at that, you're going, we're playing against one of the best teams in the world on LAN at a big event. We got 16 rounds over 2 maps. Not too upset, to be honest.
I mean, you do the math here. It's like, what would say what's your equality elsewhere? Say it's M80. Would M80 have gotten 16 rounds against FaZe? I mean,
with death,
this tournament probably not.
With Manx,
if they had the full lineup, maybe. But like, if that's where that's your
benchmark.
That's your benchmark. That's the guy that you look to the side when you get off the highway and you take the service road instead, and you're like, okay, if I'm going fast than this guy, I've made it correct. That's like, you're in a pretty good place if you're Rebels. Like, you're not that upset.
I think if you are Rebels or you're a fan of Rebels, you're probably quite happy with how they performed.
If you're a fan of Rebels, please comment below and explain how you became a fan of Rebels. Because
if you're Polish and you don't like
nine,
for some reason you just got a problem with Goofy's face.
I feel like you chop it down really quickly to the eligible fans of.
I mean, you are talking to an Englishman who is a fan of North.
I understand that. We'll talk about North later. I actually do have a bit I want to talk about North with. All right, next match. Speaking of. So this next match was important. It was Eternal Fire against Falcons. And the reason I say it's important is because Falcons just spent a shit ton of money on this team. And Eternal Fire have spent like $0 on this team. And I mean that in the best way.
I think they probably paid a decent amount.
I'd bet that they probably do pay a decent amount, but like, you're not telling me that the players on Eternal Fire,
it was cheaper than the Falcons team. Don't get me wrong.
Easily, but I'd assume by magnitudes.
Yeah.
I'd assume, if I had to guess, and I have zero inside information, that the highest paid player on Eternal Fire, which I can almost certainly guarantee is Antares, is paid roughly the same as the fourth best player on Falcons.
Probably less.
I was going to say fifth, but I decided to go a little less bold.
Think, I mean, you're saying like Magisk, or no, maybe not Magisk, but like the fourth highest paid player is probably Madden. I think he's probably on more than Jantares. I wouldn't be surprised if Boros is on more than any of Eternal Fire.
Yeah, but point being is this Eternal Fire lineup is like, if you took Magisk's salary and took all the Eternal Fire players' salary and combined it, I wouldn't be totally surprised if they were similar numbers, right? Yeah, magnitude's cheaper team.
Again, no inside information, but from what I do know about salaries, I suspect it probably is about Magisk's salary for the whole team. Yeah.
So it came as quite a surprise when Falcons put up less rounds against Eternal Fire than Rebels put up against FaZe.
Yeah, Eternal Fire. I think they'll be very disappointed they didn't make playoffs. I think they will be too. When you look at their performance against Falcons, when you look at their performance against FaZe, when you look at their performance in the play-in stage, I think they are better than their results showed, and I think they probably. I don't know how many other better chances they will have to be at the playoffs at an event like this, and I really think they will be very, very upset that they didn't make top 6, because I think they really had a good shot to.
We'll talk about this later because I want to talk about with context, but I actually think Eternal Fire is going to become better the next couple of months.
I hope so.
And that's not just because I think I trust the players a lot. The game has changed overnight, quite literally.
Yeah.
And I think that it benefits the way Xantares plays.
I think it might hurt the way Jantares play. Well, maybe not. But I also think on land, those differences are less important. And if people are calling it like the anti-donk patch, I don't think it'll make that much difference to donk at all, to be honest.
Speaking of donk, Na'Vi versus Spirit. An actual banger.
Yeah.
This match was awesome to watch. And I guess we can just start the Alexi B fraud allegations right now. I
mean, look, man.
So Na'Vi lost this, right?
Everyone that Alexi B plays with is just bad, apparently, and this is what every time Alexi B doesn't make playoffs or his team doesn't do well, it's that he just didn't have enough firepower. The players around him aren't good enough, and at some point, you have to believe that a bad worksman blames his tools.
Yeah. So Bit and Ema put up an average of 0.69, like the two of them together, and Alexi B would put up a 0.66. Like, you're not winning when you got 3 players under 1-0.
Mhm.
especially when two of those three players are the guys you expect to be doing the heavy rifle lifting.
But like these players have been stars under other IGLs.
Famously,
Yeah.
it has been a star
Like-
under another IGL. And Ema made the finals of the last major under Suhi.
When Dexter fails with mouse sports, nobody blamed the riflers. When he failed at Fnatic, nobody blamed the riflers. When NIP are dog shit under Alexi V, okay, fine, we blame. I said Brolan isn't very good. I don't think Rez is particularly good. I kind of agree with that one. But you will never convince me that Bit is bad.
Yeah.
We've seen how good Immer is.
Yeah.
We know how good JL is. We've seen how good Wonderful is. Like, these are not bad players.
No.
He didn't win with Monacy, Nico, and Hunter. And again, nobody other than me will ever tell you Nico isn't very good. And that's only because I think it's funny to do so. And he also didn't win with OG. Like he took Valde off North, where Valde was a top 20 player in the world, and all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, no, Valde's nowhere near good enough for a team like this. Like,
And he's never been good.
enough.
He's never been as good since.
Yeah.
Like even when he went to Ents, he was just not as good. And that Ents team was.
Zeus won a major with a Dren as his best player.
Yep.
Good in-game leaders get the best out of players. I don't think Alexi B gets the best out of his star riflers.
No.
I don't think
so
or at times his Orpus either. I think Wonderful actually is kind of the exception, where Wonderful's actually been very, very good on Navi.
I think Wonderful has such individual skill that it doesn't matter.
Wonderful
That he kind of just pushes through the Alexi B of it all.
Wonderful's quite an individual player, and that he's often alive late rounds, and late round stuff is less core heavy.
Yeah. So we do have to take an editorial pause.
Okay.
It was pointed out to us in a YouTube comment.
Okay.
That the commenter did not actually think that Nikodaz and Dexter had ever played together on Fnatic. And so I have gone and done I have looked at the math.
Okay.
And Nikodaz and Dexter have never played together on Fnatic.
Did I say they had?
Both of us said they had, because it made sense to both of us.
Oh.
So I'd like to just group Mandela effect this and just agree to the fact that Nikodaz and Dexter played together.
I might have hallucinated Nikodaz entirely. I'm not even sure he exists.
No, I think what we can do is we can all agree that it makes sense.
Yeah.
With Nikodaz on Fnatic, he was a worse player because Dexter was imminent in coming to Fnatic.
Yeah, they had
the fear of Dexter.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, okay, yeah. My bad.
Yeah. But it's not your bad, because we're on we think.
Yeah,
I'm agreeing on this.
We're retconning it somehow.
Exactly, yeah. So going back to Navi Spirit, on the other side of the thing, an IGL who constantly gets the best out of his players, which is Chopper.
Yeah.
Donk and Shiro. What do you do?
We had this discussion in the TLDR Discord about Monacy and how it wasn't Alexi's fault that Monacy wasn't that good under Alexi. Well, I think he got better as soon as Alexi left, but fine. This is what happens when Chopper gets his hands on a 16-year-old prodigy. The prodigy just takes over the entire world. Donk is a 1.62 or something over the group stage.
It's disgusting.
He multi-kills in 29% of the rounds he plays. At the play-in, it was like 40%. The guy is a freak. He's ridiculous.
It is one of the best single event performances of all time.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
And it's his big LAN debut.
Yep.
It's disgusting.
He's actually just the best player in the world. I mean, maybe this patch changes it, and he is. I don't think it will. I really don't.
No, I don't think it will.
When you watch him play, it's like, yeah, he does peak a lot, but like Pika's advantage isn't as powerful on LAN, and the way he plays, like, he's so good, man. Like, I don't think it matters. He's so good.
Again, it's not just the Donk show. like I feel the need to say this because a lot of people talk about Spirit. They're like, oh yeah, Donk's just the best player in the world. Like Shiro has been excellent on this team.
It kind of is just
Zontic-
the Donk show, though, isn't it? We're being serious. It's kind of just
like,
the Donk show.
The problem is it is, but it isn't. Like you see that the rest of the players continue to have impact, and it's not like Donk's. It's not like the rest of the players are shit, and Donk's is just like, oh, I'm gonna pull you. It's not like we're a tier 3 team. Sports. Yeah, exactly.
But it's kind of
Rops
like
on phase.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's more like the idea for me is like Rops on phase to a degree.
No, it's kind of more like JKS on Renegades, but he's just like clearly their best player. Like the other players are fine. Like
I don't think I'm not arguing that Donk isn't the best player on this team.
Yeah, I know, but it's like one thing I always think is the people's perception of who the best support player in the world is largely colored by who the best team in the world is. People thought for years it was Zipnix because Astralis were just winning. It's really easy to have impact as a support player when everyone else is doing well. Like it's just so much easier. Like it's so easy to go 14-6 when Donk has like 35 kills in 8 rounds. Like it's like, do you know how easy it is to play when you have the best player in the world? Like, it's so easy. And you will just get higher ratings. You will just have higher numbers because Donk is winning these rounds before they start most of the time. But he's just like getting double kills in mid that he just should never get. And it's like, well, it's so easy.
We need to have one more conversation about Donk, which is the fact that ESL told him he has to stop shit talking as much.
Yeah, it's not that he needs to stop shit talking as much. I think he needs to change what he's saying.
He needs to stop.
What was he shouting? Calling people, in Russian.
Which, you know what? On the other hand, fuck it, I'm in for it. Please give me more. Like, that's what I want.
I've been quote unquote researching through the week things that Donk is younger than, and it's really quite depressing.
Would you? Well, he's younger than me. Which is generally not something that we can say.
He's younger than the PlayStation 3.
That's... Yeah, okay.
He's younger than Pokemon Diamond, Elder Scrolls Oblivion. He was born in the same year that COD 4 came out, and he's still not old enough to play it.
Oh. You're starting to make me feel old now, and I'm not old.
When Vega Squadron knocked NIP out of the Major... 16-2 under Chopper, Donk was 9 years old.
That one's not as bad.
He was not. No, it is because that's the game that made me love Counter-Strike. Donk was 9. He was 9 years old. I remember that game vividly. I was 20. He was 9.
Wait, he's 17 right now, right?
He was born in 2007.
He's born in 2007. So that means he was 5 years old when Counter-Strike Go came out.
Yeah.
That's the scary one to me.
Yeah. My favorite was that it's now 122 days, but Taz and Neo have played together for 122 days fewer than Donk has been alive. So Donk's lifespan,
that's kind of based,
and the amount of time Taz and Neo play together is within like 150 days.
Okay, but on the other hand, like I don't know if that says more about how old Donk is or how long Taz and Neo played together.
Yeah, I mean they played together for nearly 17 years,
which is insane.
Yeah, but that's like Donk's,
and they're now coaching.
It's 2 teams. I think Taz is over twice Donk's age. It's just mental. He's 17. He's almost like genuinely. If he continues his group stage form into the playoffs, he's almost inarguably the best player in the world with one event. I actually think it's hard to argue.
Taz is over twice his age. Taz is 37.
I've watched Taz play. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he's over twice his age.
And we're not talking about like watch Taz play on Honorous. We're saying like watch Taz play in like
Virtus Pro.
His pro, yeah. When Virtus Pro was a Polish team.
Taz could legally be his dad. Like he'd have been.
No, that's where we're gonna stop this. I understand.
How old is Tales? Is he 36?
37. He's 37.
37? He was 20 when Donk was born.
Oh.
Fallen's career started before Donk was born. He's still playing.
Can we really call what Fallen is doing playing?
Fury are not good, but you'll notice they weren't in the conversation.
No, yeah, you'll notice we have not yet to mention them. All right,
anyway,
can we finish
the best
up
player
group
in the world? It really,
he's so fucking
no matter
good.
what Logan says, it is just the Donk show. It's so much easier.
He's so fucking good. Okay, the other match we had talked a little bit a while ago about. I don't even want to bring this up. Never mind. Fuck it. So Complexity Apex.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Complexity Apex. Grim was very good, and then Complexity just kind of didn't show up for the rest of the event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Complexity. Their honeymoon period is over. The fun's over. And
So
when the fun stops,
I want to talk about the whole bit, right? So Complexity beat Apex 2-0, but then they had to go face Donk, and Donk doesn't lose.
No, he just doesn't.
And so then they went to go play Falcons, and Falcons is a scary team to play because regardless of they're bad for how much money they paid, it's still Magisk plus the core events, which is terrifying.
We'll get on to Falcons in a minute. I have no idea what to think about them, to be honest.
Yeah. So upper bracket finishes out. FaZe beat Eternal Fire, make it to the finals against Spirit. And as our new law says, Donk doesn't lose.
He battered
Spirit
FaZe.
Fucking battered FaZe 2-0.
He just fucking owned
For
them.
what it's worth, again, Rebels got more rounds against FaZe than FaZe got against Spirit.
Fuck. I didn't even put that. Fuck. Donk's the best player in the world, man. He's actually just the best player in the world.
Complexity got half the rounds against Spirit that Rebels got against FaZe.
Donk's the best player in the world.
Donk is so fucking good.
I didn't think he'd be this good this quickly. I knew he'd be this good.
No one did.
I just didn't think it'd be this quickly.
So, Spirit and FaZe, because they were both in the upper finals, get through the playoffs. Spirit beat FaZe and beat FaZe. So they'll be through as the A seed from the 1 seed from Group A. In the lowers, Falcons beat Rebels, which is an intended response.
Yeah, that game was not pretty. I really, really thought Rebels were going to win at portions of that game. Genuinely, hand on heart, I thought Rebels were the better team that series. The Falcons, I really did not. When I watched that game, and I saw Falcons were playing Na'Vi to go through afterwards.
Yeah,
I just went, I think I said there's no way Falcons beat Na'Vi. There was just not a chance because they looked all at sea against Rebels. I don't know how they won that game.
The other match I want to talk about in lowers was there's 2 more matches, right? I don't care about Complexity Falcons or Na'Vi Apex. They just don't matter in my head. Eternal Fire Na'Vi was the game that Eternal Fire went out on. And
that one
was
sad. That one's sad.
That one was a little sad. But the lower final was Falcons against Na'Vi.
Yeah. Which Falcons just completely flipped the script.
It's they remembered how to play Counter-Strike.
Yeah. I don't know what
they remembered that on this team there's 3 majors
they were getting,
plus 4 majors in the coaching staff.
They were getting battered. They were 10-3 down or something on the first map. And I was like, yeah, I knew this was going to happen. And then out of I'm not even joking. When Na'Vi went 10-3 up, I tabbed out. And I went and opened another, I was on Twitter or something. I looked back up and I think Snappy had got 2 kills with a Deagle and they'd won this pistol force. And they just won every round, for the rest of the series.
Yeah, that was Ancient was a huge comeback from Falcons to win over Na'Vi. It was ridiculous.
It was just out of nowhere. They just the game completely flipped on its head from this pistol force buy, and I genuinely don't know where it came from. And one thing I said on Twitter was that Snappy is either going to throttle Boros or he's going to turn him into the best, one of the best players in the world. And I still don't know the answer. But if he can harness Boros, that guy is a freak, man. He's like, mechanically, there are very, very few players better than him in the world. Like, the duels he wins are impossible. Like, he just takes bad fights and wins them. Like, it reminds me of something Dupree used to do at his peak. Like, he would just take these horrible fights and just rip the guy's head off. And it just completely changes the round. If you can harness him, like, that's stardust.
Yeah. Let's move on to Group B, because I think Group B was actually the more interesting group. And I say that knowing full well that we just talked about Donk for 15 minutes.
Talked about the best player in the world, yeah.
We talked about the best player in the world.
And it had Alexi B like choking again, which is,
Yeah. So Group B was Vitality, ENCE, G2 Heroic, Monty Gamer Legion, Mao's Cloud9, which I'm pretty sure was just the Paris playoffs plus or minus like 2 teams.
Well, what I'd say about that group is there's only 2 teams in there who I was certain I knew how good they were, and I was wrong on both of them.
So okay. So let's start with one of them. Vitality played ENCE to open.
Yep.
Let me remind you all that this is the new ENCE.
Yeah.
Which is 5 Polish guys and Glaive, who's now an honorary Polish guy.
Yeah.
And
they won. I don't. Like,
and they won.
So I didn't
against Vitality.
I didn't watch this game because it was on the A stream and I was working the B stream. But from everything I read about it, everything I heard about it, it was really well deserved. Like, it was just like ENCE were the better team.
I watched this game.
Yeah.
And ENCE was the better team. And I don't ENCE is an enigma for me at this event, okay? And there's a reason why. A, we're in the honeymoon phase.
Mm-hmm.
B, we're in Poland.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 2 pretty good motivators right there to be the best fucking team you can be at this event.
Yep.
On the other hand, this team could just be really fucking good because you took the core of 9, who is a pretty good team to begin with, added Glaive, who has a massive fucking chip on his shoulder, and added Diha,
who was
he's
really
really
Diha's a wild card. He was a wild card on ENCE, and I think he's still on ENCE, but you know what I mean.
But he was a really solid player to be a wild card, right? It wasn't that he was.
I think he's pretty wildly up and down, but
that's okay.
But yeah, like his peak is really high. His peak is really high. It's just that his floor is also kind of low.
part of the Nines crew that I do want to shout out is Hades making his return to ENCE. Right, from the old ENCE team.
Everyone likes Hades. It just seems like a nice guy, and he's a good player.
Hades is very good.
I think what's most surprising for me about Hades actually is that on that ENCE team that he was on, he wasn't a typical AWPer. He was actually very passive. He was more of he would kind of like play like weird anchor spots with an AWP. Like he actually was very passive, very.
I have to go look up this lineup because it's been a bit.
Well, basically, he was replaced by Sunpie. It was him and
Hades, Diha, Snappy, Spinks, and
yes. So they replaced Spinks
Dodo
and Hades with Sun Pius and Valde, because the idea that we had was that like Sun Pius would be more of a star than Hades was. So you'd actually put Valde in the spots that that Hades had, because Hades actually was very defensive as an AWPer, and he actually went to 9, took a step down, and became a star again. And now he's coming back up to the top tier, and he's showing that actually he can be more dynamic than what he was originally under ENCE, and he actually can be a bit more expressive. And he's a good player. Like I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's the best AWPer in the world.
He's not.
But he's pretty fucking solid for the.
It's pretty good.
You won't find a better one in Poland, and you won't find a better one for this team, I don't think, either.
This team continues. It was before, and they managed to do it again. And the question is, can they continue with this version of the team? It is better than the sum of their parts.
Yeah.
That's the continual thing with Ents. Dating back to 2019 Katowice, when they had the Polish team that took the run.
The Finnish
right?
team.
The Finnish team, sorry. The Finnish team that took the run all the way to the finals and then got stomped by Astralis, right?
Yep.
Like Ents has always been, we are better than what you do the math on paper on, we're better than that.
Yeah, that's true.
And
I completely agree.
They look to be continuing that. On the other side of the coin, Vitality.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I'm gonna.
It's not.
We've been trying to go. We've been trying to go round by round, but I want to talk about Vitality proper for a second. They lost to Ents in a game that Ents absolutely should have won. That they did win. So they drop to the lowers and already have to go through a run. And they run into Heroic, who have somehow managed to figure out what the fuck to do with this lineup a little bit.
Yeah, so Heroic are one of the teams that I definitely had no idea what to expect.
No, this is the first time we've really seen this team.
Yeah,
and I think we saw them at Blast, but who cares about Blast?
But then people are very down on this team because of where they were. But if you take a step back and just sort of look at the pieces they have, I don't dislike any of them as like individual.
No, I don't dislike any of them.
I think the parts are actually quite strong, and it's just a little bit of a strange composition. But I don't see any reason that team couldn't be good.
This team feels like, and I'm going to say this and then walk some of it back. It feels like a set of the rejects. It feels like they took what are the best 5 FAs available and combined them to one team. Now, I want to walk that back because obviously Kixan is a different story.
And also,
Nerds is a different story.
Yeah.
And Nikodas is a different story. Everyone on this team is a different story, right? But like, it kind of feels like they went, okay, we have Tessus and Shush because their teammates wanted to do other things, right? Because we had the Stabby axe the thing, right? And then Cadian left to Liquid after Stabby said they didn't want to play with Cadian anymore. Fine. Nerds got left alone on Ents.
He had other offers. I know for a fact he had other offers.
I'm sure that's true, but he got hit. The core of his team left, right? And he and Diha were the only two left, and they brought this Polish team in.
Yeah,
I'd assume that there was an offer to keep Nerds as well, but
I don't know. But I know Mouse wanted him.
I'm sure. Kixan was over on Apex. Yep. And was doing really well there. And Nikodas was just out of Preezy.
Yeah.
And it felt like they went,
I think they might have poached Nikodas from Preezy, to be honest.
But either way, it felt like they picked and chose kind of just like the best available players.
Yeah.
And are just making it work.
I think
because they are the best available players.
I do think that's a slight disservice to like Nerds, who I think was actually quite hot property. Like I think Nerds was wanted by I know he had offers from Mouse. He was wanted by loads of teams. There wasn't a top team in the world who didn't want Nerds. I think the fact that he chose Heroic is actually maybe testament to other moves breaking down, or maybe he really believes in this project. Keeping Shush, I know like Stown and Yabi are the headline players. I think Shush was probably a better player, certainly a harder to replace player than Stown or Yabi. You can find other star players like Stown. You can find other players like Yabi. It's hard to find a player like Shush who is as good as Shush is, especially if you want to keep the core Danish. Kixan, I think, is one that people were a little bit unsure of. His Apex team was quite good, but you don't always know how well an in-game leader translates to another team. And like, I think it's fair to have concerns over Kixan, but if you'd have just said before all this happened, if you just said Heroic are going to sign Nerds and keep Shush and Tessus, you'd be like, wow, what a core that is. I think people's concerns are over Kixan and Nikodas, and I think those are reasonable, but as individual pieces, I really like Kixan. I really like Nerds. I think anyone with eyes does. And we know Shush and Tessus are good. The question mark is like, is Nikodas Copenhagen Nicodos, or is he Dexter's fanatic?
Dexter fanatic.
Yeah. Or is he, is he like which version of Nicodos are you getting? If you're getting a good version of Nicodos, there's no reason this team can't be good. And they beat Vitality.
Yeah, so Vitality didn't win a single match at Kato.
Yeah.
They just kind of went out with a whimper. They won a map in each series.
Okay.
They lost both series 2-1.
Okay.
But they're gone.
Yeah,
the number one team relegated to the same position as Rebels and Apex, and just slightly better than teams like M80.
Yeah.
And definitely better than teams than Astralis. Yep.
I will
happy we were on the same train.
Apex has a terrible record at Katowice. He's like made playoffs once in like 10 attempts or something. I can't remember it might be twice in 10. And like Zywoo's like 1 in 5 or something. Like for whatever reason.
The air quality.
Well, apparently it was a lot better this year. The air quality is apparently a lot better this year, and they're still losing. So
it's about Poland.
Yeah, they just don't
hopefully
like Poland.
Hopefully no major there soon. For Vitality's sake, not for.
Yeah, I love Kato.
Yeah.
So much so that I didn't go this year, but yeah, one of those.
G2 Heroic. We already told you Heroic lost.
Yeah,
vaguely, because we
they were in the lower
had
bracket.
said Heroic was in the lower bracket. Yeah.
We didn't tell you how they lost.
No.
You remember that thing about teenage prodigies earlier?
Yep.
Yeah.
This was their event.
He's still good, man. He dropped 90 in a series. A MR12 series, he dropped 90 in.
Well, was it really MR12 when 2 of the games went to 16?
An MR12 series, he dropped 90 in. I mean, even if it's like an MR15, it's still impressive to drop 90 in the series.
Yeah, oh no, it's impressive
either way. Really impressive. He obliterated them. Like, was it 50 kills or 60 kills on that one? I can't remember the exact number. He had a ridiculous amount of kills on the one.
Too many. It was the answer is too many. I am vaguely looking quickly. I was also looking for something else. But a lot of kills. He had 39 on Overpass.
Yeah. Oh, so
which is a lot of kills.
So it was 39 kills in 29 rounds.
Yeah.
So it did go to 1 overtime, but he got 39 kills.
But it doesn't matter if it goes to overtime. Say we're back in CS:GO when we're on MR15. 39 kills with no overtime is still pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah, he was ridiculous, man. Like he was just frying. Like there's just no it's really baseline analysis to just be like, yeah, Monacy just cooked him. But honestly,
it doesn't matter.
G2 had no hope in hell of winning this game. If Monacy dropped 90 and they were like, it was close. Like it was a 2-1 series with a 16-13 with 2 16-13s. They blew them out on the last map, which was Nuke, and Monacy dropped 25 in a 19-round game. Like,
still very good.
It's almost as good. Like 25 kills in 90 rounds is insane, and it's like wasn't even his best map of the series. There's actually nothing else you can say about this game than just Monacy just decided he was going to win it. There's nothing else.
He couldn't let Donk show him up. That's all it was.
It was like when I saw this after like Donk showing on day 1, I was like, yeah, this is going to be like who's like Messi and Ronaldo. It's like
we're gonna have to talk about playoffs in a minute.
Yeah,
we got to move on because otherwise we're gonna spend 20 minutes talking about Monacy, and we gotta move.
Somebody could write a poem on Monacy.
Okay, next match in Group B was a resurrection of the quarterfinals match from Blast Paris, which was Monty Gamer Legion, a match Gamer Legion won, in which Gamer Legion still won.
So, the other team in this group that I said I thought I knew how good they were was Monty. And now I'm confused again. Because they were terrible against Gamer Legion, good in their second game. I can't remember who they played. Cloud9.
Sorry, Cloud9.
But then, And then they lost to G2 in a pretty decent game. But like, I thought I knew how good actually, I guess it's only the Gamer Legion result which confuses me. And they were coming off a pretty long break without playing an official. And sneakily, actually, Gamer Legion are really good. So maybe
continuing to be really good.
Yeah, but like I think they're actually better than I thought. I think that's true. I think most people kind of underrated them. I think they are actually just really good. Like Snacks as a caller is actually very, very good.
I was just about to say, speaking of things older than Donk, Snacks is still playing.
I will say Snacks was very young when he first joined the Golden Five. He's probably younger than you think.
He's 30.
Yeah.
I
He's 7 years younger than Taz.
He's 13 years older than Donk.
Yeah, but he's still 7 years younger than Taz.
Yeah. Okay. Mao's Cloud9 was the other opener.
Donk and Monacy put together are younger than Taz.
So for all the audio listeners, I just had my head in my hands for a minute.
I was just cringing
at that. Okay. Mao's Cloud9, that was the other opener. Mao's was actually for what it's worth. Mao's was a team I thought I knew going into this event.
So my question marks over Mao's are about Brolan. I think he's actually looked very good, and I don't have any concerns over them at all.
We should have had less concerns about Brolan. The reason I say this is because he was on an Alexi B.
Yeah, well, that's
NIP
the thing.
Team.
Right? He had the Alexi B, but he was also shit before Alexi B joined. So I don't know. I honestly thought Brolan was a busted
he got
flush.
compounded. He was on NIP, which is historically a team for players to go die on.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that HOTV forum post, which is like the only way to stop Donk is NIP Donk?
I was the first person to put that in our drop channel with the caption, "I am cackling" in all caps.
It's so good. The only way to stop Donk is to put him on NIP. It's so good. It's genius. But it really is.
But Donk is the place that players go to end their careers.
That is true. NIP. That is true. You go to Donkey, end your career immediately.
NIP and Donk are both places to go to end your career.
You try and peak Donk.
NIP
ends. It's like missing.
Brolan went to NIP, and then they said, "Oh wait, let's give you Alexi B, famed choker."
Yeah.
And that's the Brolan that we thought about for a while.
It's really amusing to me that you're just on board with my Alexi B agenda.
I've been on board with Alexi B fraud for years.
It's great. The Alexi B agenda is it's so much fun because it really winds people up.
The only time I thought Alexi B was not a fraud was IEM Katowice 2019 when he brought the Ents team to the finals. And I don't think he was a fraud there. I think he was just lower rated than everyone expected because that team came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And then he was
I think
massively overrated, right?
Yeah, and then it jumped to massively overrated and it hasn't left there.
He's now kind of rated fairly, to be honest. Like,
yeah, but he's still a choker.
Yeah, of course he is.
So Cloud9 lost this game. They are starting to feel the effects feel the effects of not having a proper op player.
Yeah. They're feeling a lot of effect. They're also feeling the effect of Axile just not being very good anymore.
Yep, that too. You know who would fix this team?
Well, Donk. To be honest, Donk would fix this team. But like,
Donk wouldn't give them an op.
Just give me an AK.
Okay, but if you take Axile and plug Simple in, you've taken the major winning Na'Vi from 2021. Yeah. And
I don't think enough is made of the fact that Cloud9 had some like shady business deal to sign the Gambit roster that was the best in the world for a lot of money. And then they've just like ship of Theseus it into Na'Vi without Simple, which is the best bit. Like,
well, the only player left from the only player left from the original Gambit roster is Axile.
There's Hobbit.
No. Because Hobbit wasn't on the original.
Okay, but he was the one they bought.
Oh, okay, but Hobbit and Axile are the only two left.
Yeah, and Hobbit apparently is the next one out. And it might be... Well,
and it might depends be on Simple.
And they're like,
Depends on the week you're looking at it.
But like, they just ship a Theseus to 2021 Na'vi, and it'll be without bit eventually. It'll be Axon instead of bit. But it's like, you've spent a lot of money to do this, and all you've done is like lose the most valuable player to Spirit. It just doesn't seem worth it. It seems insane. Oh, they've literally taken the Gambit team, sold it off for spare parts, and made it worse.
Yes.
And then got battered by Monty with Sunday Young as the leader, who the original Na'vi team kicked for not being good enough.
I love it.
Warrior 2K is actually
so
ideal, I think. But
for what we need to talk about here very quickly, the players that have left Gambit before we move on, who are unceremoniously kicked for the Na'vi players.
Or, bench themselves in Shiro's case.
Other than Inters, are all doing better for themselves now.
Wow.
Would you say that Nafany is not doing better?
Well, he went out in the playing stage to Cloud9, didn't he? So
okay, but Bet Boom is a project. And are you telling me that Shiro isn't doing
Shiro
better
definitely
now?
is, because he's now playing with the best player in the world, Chopper.
Yeah. So that was the opening round for Group B. Ents made a run. They beat G2 in the upper semis. Beat G2 in the upper semis. It got to the upper finals themselves. There was a really big there was a lot of photos of them crying after they won the upper semis, because once you make upper finals, you are locked in for playoffs. They ended up losing at the upper finals to Mouse,
hanged out by Mouse,
who beat Cloud9 Gamer Legion to get there.
Mouse banged them out. Mouse is freaky, bro. They're scary.
We have less questions about Mouse now than we did before.
They're scary.
Actually, no. I have more questions about Mouse, because my question is, where the fuck was Brolin for the last 3 years?
My question is, how high is their ceiling? Because
I have already stated that
I don't see their ceiling yet.
I have already stated that Mouse Sports will win the second major of the year.
You did. I think I said Spirit would, which is looking better and better.
Our predictions this year,
first, but
our predictions this year may actually come true.
It's looking good. ...
Yeah. Through the lower bracket, Heroic won through to get to the lower finals. On the other side, G2, after the loss to Ents, beat up on Monty, face Heroic in the finals, which is a rematch of the opening round game in which G2 won again.
Yeah.
Which meant that G2
2-0 that one. Like, it was quite close on both maps, but G2 was just slightly better. Gentleman's 2-0.
Which leads us to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Ents Falcons takes place on Friday. FaZe G2 take place on Friday. Spirit will play the winner of Ents Falcons, and Mouse will play the winner of FaZe G2. Now,
you have to think Spirit make the final no matter what.
We have to talk about storylines for a second, right? Because all 6 of these teams have incredible storylines. Spirit can Donk do it. Donk. It's just Donk, right?
It's just Donk. It's the Donk show.
Ents, this is the Polish team. That's their storyline. I don't mean the bad way. Just like their storyline is, this is the Polish team that got pulled up to the big leagues, that got one of the best IGLs of all time with a chip on his shoulder.
Yep.
Can they prove it? Falcons, we just spent $1.7 billion on this roster. Can it do anything?
I mean, you could also go with
that number.
Sonic and Majestic winning on a new team. Snappy,
yeah, but that's less
like
fun.
Snappy still doesn't have his big tournaments. Like,
I need to note that number I gave for Falcons was absolutely out of my ass. I have no clue how much this team cost.
much higher than that.
Well, it's higher in the cost of dignity.
Arguable.
FaZe. FaZe is the team with the least storyline out of this, which is incredible.
Yeah,
because their storyline is just like, we have Frozen now.
Their storyline is they're the second best team in the world, and the best team in the world has fallen out. You kind of have to win now, otherwise.
Well, no, they're the third best team in the world.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously.
G2 storyline. There are 2 IGLs on this team. What the fuck is going on, and how do they keep winning, and why is the answer a 19-year-old Russian?
G2 are also the reigning champions.
Sorry, 18-year-old Russian.
G2 are also the reigning champions.
Yeah, G2 are also the reigning champions.
Mental. I sometimes I just forget that G2 just won the two
They
big
won
events last
Cologne.
year.
Yeah, Cologne and Kata last year.
They just like we often talk about G2 as if they're like, you know, these sort of nearly like the nearly theirs. They actually won just two of the biggest events in the world last year. They're the reigning champions, and we're sort of thinking of them as a bit of an afterthought. And like, there is a world G2 just win this event. I'm being deadly serious. Like, there's a world where they just win. They just win out in playoffs.
The Mao's story is the Mao story it's been for the last like 3 years, which is just like, can they finally win something?
Yeah, like this is at some point they're going to make like the leap and just be one of the best teams in the world. And it feels like it's very close.
It could really be like today. Like let this be known. I do know they won Pro League last year.
Yeah,
they won Season 8 Pro League, but that was a different Mao's team.
And it's not in the SPO deck, is it?
It's not the same Mao's.
It's also Suhi's also Polish, right? And the
Suhi is Polish, yes. He's got the buff.
Yeah.
So for us to pick very quickly, Ents Falcons, doesn't matter.
Didn't I think Diha tweeted Spodek versus the Snakes Thursday the other day?
That's based. Oh wait, we forgot about that storyline, which is this is the old Ents. Well, it's Ents versus Ents.
Yeah, it's Snappy versus Ents.
Excellent storyline. The problem is, we could tell you either of these teams we could be right or wrong,
but it does win. But I honestly,
but it doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter what we say because they play Spirit.
I think Falcons win, and I think they get donked hard.
Battered.
They get really
the other side of the bracket actually matters what we say. FaZe G2 is a banger.
I will say it never matters what we say.
Okay, but we may actually have a chance at saying something right on this side of the bracket or saying something interesting, which is FaZe G2. I think FaZe, but I could be swayed the other way.
The problem is betting for or against G2 is always just a fool's gambit. Like on any given day, m0NESY and Nico could just blast you out of the water. Like, so m0NESY could just he could just donk FaZe again.
Actually, I'm calling this going to be a G2, and I'll explain why in our next segment.
Okay, yeah. I see where you're going with this. Yeah.
The winner plays.
I kind of just got a feeling m0NESY's going to go ridiculous. I just got a feeling.
G2 Maus, then.
Yeah.
Couldn't fucking tell you what happens here.
Knows. I mean,
literally couldn't tell you.
I think kind of low key Exertion has been one of the best players at this event, and
he's been great.
I know what you'll get to in a minute about G2 getting better with the new patch, but man, Exertion scares me. Like I actually think. And this sounds mental. I actually think Nico and Hunter won't be able to stop Exertion. I really think Exertion is going to shit on who. Like, I actually think he would shit on G2. I just kind of
that is so incredibly based. I'm here for it.
Nah, he's been
for what it's worth. I would have put Maus regardless. Spirit Maus is a grand final though.
That
sounds like a banger.
Yeah,
sounds like a banger for everyone watching, but it sounds like everyone that's at ESL probably hates that there's no like huge team. I guess they're happy Donk is there.
Yeah, Donk is such a pull. He's that's what I mean. Like he's already a superstar. Like because everybody wants to talk about Donk. We wanted to talk about like he's a superstar. Yeah. He's Wembanyama. He's a superstar.
Yeah, but Wemby's not good.
We won't get into that.
Wemby is fine.
We won't get into that. But you know what? Like Wembanyama was hyped before he got in the league. He was already a superstar before he played a game. Donk was already a superstar before he played a game, and then he was a superstar. So he's just the talking point, and everybody wants him in the final. And I promise you, ESL want him in the final. They'd probably like it to be against FaZe, but
all right. That's Kato. Our next story happened last night.
Already long.
Well, yeah, we were already 54 minutes in. Our next story happened last night, which was super important and quiet. So Valve released an update. Thank fucking God.
The game
huge
is
amount
alive.
Huge amount of fixes. The biggest being Peeker's Advantage is like dead. Like they have.
Have you played the game today?
I have played the game. I played the game last night, but I played it after the patch last night because it came out like 7 p.m.
I got swung at close range by an MP9. I one-digged them and I audibly moaned. Counter-Strike is back, baby. It's so back.
We need to talk about. So this is why I said that G2 may actually be good again, is because Nico and wide peaking has not been a thing.
Yeah, Nico is still trying to play Counter-Strike while everyone else is playing Call of Duty.
Yeah, but now Nico can go back and play Counter-Strike.
Nico, yeah, he's going to be scary again.
The other things we need to talk about. One, the M249 got a new sound effect. I don't know if you've heard it or not.
It's so
it sounds. I can't tell if it's awful or amazing, and I have yet to decide.
I'm not paying $5,000 for an LMG that sounds like that. Like if
I'm not paying $5,000 for an LMG. Full stop.
I fry with the M249, but if I'm going to pay that much money for an LMG, it better sound like a minigun. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't want it to sound like it's shooting peas. It's got it should be sounding like it's shooting like miniature cars at people. Like they should be these bullets should be like this big. For audio listeners, it's like the size of a chihuahua. Like that's how big the bullet should be. If I'm spending $5,000 on LMG.
All right. The Zeus has a actual gameplay update, which may make
it will make
Nico's
no
better.
It will make no difference. I'm sorry.
So the Zeus is now rechargeable over 30 seconds, so you can get 3 Zeuses in per round.
Or in a VP round, 14.
And it also got a skin, which is cool, I guess. But the most important part of this update is the fact that you can place stickers anywhere on your gun and you can have 5 of them.
Yeah.
Which has led to a lot of interesting crafts. But most importantly means with the new sticker that they put out that said, if found, please return to with an arrow, means that every gun I have. So for what it's worth, I've had an M4A4 for like 5 years now with North players on it. And after I met Elliot, it got named at AZS. Got a sticker that has an if found. My A1S is a Mecha Industries and it's called Mechatronic Industry. It got in case of loss, please return to, which is excellent. I refuse to talk about the other things people are doing with the new stickers.
Yeah. Yeah. There's we can't really show it on screen for some of you.
No.
And B, we don't really want
I don't want to show it on screen.
Just imagine what gamers are doing with stickers on guns.
Yep. Also, arms race.
Yeah, fine.
I'm not
particularly interested in arms race, but fine.
Win danger zone.
I was just happy to see the peaked advantage nerfed. I can hold an angle again. It's so glorious.
All right, that's what we're gonna call it for today. You can find us on Twitter at LoganRapApp, at AZEsk, and at ReadTLDR. We'll be back again next week. We'll talk about the end of Kato and the beginning of RMRs, which start next week.
Yeah,
which is insane.
Stressful.
Yeah, interesting times. All right, see you, everyone.
Bye.